Today I'm going to be here talking about meat hacking, turning meat into jerky. I started about in December of last year, and I've done a lot of research, and everyone says my jerky tastes good, so I'm hoping they're not lying to me. I have a...
What? Huh?
Look, okay.
We got an open in line, so you gotta hold it just so.
Why don't you just
Use this one.
Yeah.
Hello. There we go. Going to be doing some trivia questions throughout for some free samples. I was going to be taking care of them. If you get a trivia question, you just come up, tell her which one of the four you get. You can have 4 pieces. I got original, teriyaki, cracked pepper and garlic, hickory, chili, and teriyaki. So we're going to go ahead and start off with a trivia question here. And Real Genius, who won the Madame Curie lookalike contest?
I don't know. What was her name? Yeah.
It's a trick question.
What's real name? Madam Curry. They only had 3 entrants.
I'm going to give you a hint.
Yeah, that's what he said.
Come on up.
Awesome. Some meat. I want some meat.
Let out give you some over me.
I want original meat. I don't trust all these other fancy meats.
you want all 4 from original?
Yes. That is a lot of meat.
Yes, sir. It took a lot of time too.
No one won. There was 1 entry and he was disqualified later.
What for?
They don't mention it.
You said 3. I thought there were 3. Is it just 1? Give him some of that jerky back.
No, I said you got 4 pieces.
Yes.
guessing. Give it back.
4 pieces to the right answer.
I'm going to start with the basics here.
Happy birthday, Nathan. Happy birthday, Nathan. Happy birthday, Nathan. Happy birthday, Nathan. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Nathan. There's 2 types of jerky that I make. There's the real beef jerky that's made from the whole muscle cuts of meat, like London broil or eye round roast. But any very lean piece of meat will work. You don't want a fatty piece of meat because when you dehydrate it, the fat in it will retain moisture and it will start to mold quicker. And there's also the Slim Jim type sticks or strips made from ground beef or any kind of lean ground meat like venison. And there's a couple things you need. Dehydrator, of course, to dry the meat out. And if you're making the strips from the ground beef, you're going to need a jerky gun. Some tips about the dehydrator. You don't want to get an El Cheapo dehydrator with a fan in the base because the marinade and drippings of meat will drop down into your fan and it's just a pain in the ass to clean. The one that I use is a Nesco FD80 square shape dehydrator. It comes with 4 racks by default, but you can buy extra racks and expand it up to 8. I chose the square shape because it has more surface area than the round ones and it's easier to do the strips. Another thing I discovered was to get a timer for my dehydrator. Because one night I started my jerky, started gaming, and about 10 hours later I realized, oh shit, I should have taken it off 4 hours ago. It was just a little bit crunchy.
Crispy. It was still good though.
Yeah, it still tasted good, but it was brittle. Yeah. This is an example of the one you don't want to have, where it's got the pan in the base.
Is that more for vegetable and fruit stuff?
Yes, it will work better for fruits and vegetables.
My mom used that.
Still be kind of sticky though.
I understand.
Yeah.
Here's another trivia question here. Simple math, right?
1000.
No.
100100.
I'll give you a hint. It's binary.
The question is meaningless unless you define the base.
Yes, sir.
Base plus four is 8. Hey, it's all base.
Come on up. Whoever said 8.
You have
Up to 4
four
pieces.
pieces, whatever you want.
10.
Do we have two different, we have one and one?
This is the whole meat, and that's the ground beef.
Is that another one?
The jerky gun, it's used to turn your ground meat into nice little round sticks or flat strips. You can make them, the round sticks look like Slim Jims, and the flat ones look like the flat turkey. But and it's very easy to use and easy to clean.
I may have found the answer to my cannibalism problem.
It's so easy, you just put the ground meat in the tube, you screw the nozzle of your choice on, whether you want it flat or round, and start squeezing out the nice, perfectly formed strips,
It's an overgrown cock gun, right?
basically.
Yes. About this big.
The alternative is to do it without jerky gun. You put it on a piece of, you put your ground meat on a piece of wax paper, put another piece on top, and use a rolling pin to roll it out, and slice it with a knife. But I'm lazy, so I just use the jerky gun. It costs about $50 on Amazon. Another trivia here. What movie quote is this from? Bonus piece if you can also name the actor and or character. Hey Cameron, you realize if we played by the rules right now, we'd be in the gym. Correct. Do you know the actor and or character? Yes. Come on up. You get 6 pieces.
New 80s movies.
Love 80s movies. That's where it's at.
Dealer's choice.
You have 6 pieces.
I'll take one of each.
You want one of each?
Sounds good.
Of my life. Of my death. I became a dream, Lord.
Well, you can either have this one or this one. This one flavor. Which one do you want?
One of each. Just for anyone who doesn't get any trivia, any leftovers I'll have in the lobby after my talk. So apparently I was going to eat it all, so there's not going to be any. The ground meat prep. They say you can use 85 and above, but I don't use anything below 90%. And usually I use 93 to 95%. Just because the more fat you use, the more likely it's going to start molding if you don't properly package it for long-term storage. You can use other types of meat like venison. I made venison earlier this year with a few pounds that I had, and it was very delicious. It was much better than beef jerky. If you can get deer meat, highly recommend it.
Very
delicious.
It was delicious.
My
Yes.
challenge is harvesting it.
Yeah.
I got the deer.
Gotta get the combine out, man.
Yep.
We had it in the freezer, so we were, beta testing that stuff. It was delicious.
I've been told by a couple people to avoid making the jerky out of turkey and pork because when you dehydrate it, the meat only gets to about 160, 170 degrees in the dehydrator. So there's potential for salmonella and other bacteria. So, and no one likes food poisoning. So I just avoid that. Seasoning, it's really easy for beginners. All you gotta do is buy some Nesco or High Mountain seasoning. They come in prepackaged little packets, like you can see in the picture there. They come in the seasoning packets and the cure packets. The cure packets basically salt, and you just mix them in with the meat. Eventually you might want to experiment with your own flavorings, but it's a lot easier to do with the whole meat that is made out of the London Royals, just because you're making a marinade then, not actually mixing the seasoning straight into the meat. I use Nesco right now because it's the easiest to start with. It comes in the pre-measured packets, 1 packet for each pound of meat.
Are they in grocery stores or you gotta buy it online?
I buy it on Amazon. I don't know if it's in grocery stores because I buy pretty much everything on Amazon. I have Amazon Prime, so it comes in 2 days, or $3.99, and I have it the next day. So if you're making 2 pounds, you just use 2 packets of the flavoring and 2 packets of the cure and mix it in and you're good to go. Once it's mixed together well, you cover it with Saran wrap, place it in the refrigerator for 48 hours. You might be able to get away with doing it less than 2 days, but I found that it seems to be the perfect spot to get the meat to bind together nicely when you're squeezing it out. It's recommended 6 hours in the directions, but when I've done that, it comes out in clumps and doesn't form nice sticks. It forms little short sections. Here's a good one. If anyone can get this, I'll give you 12 pieces. What episode of Hack 5 was my idea for a rechargeable battery for the pineapple?
Episode 4. 5, 2, 10. 2!
I will give you a hint, it's in season 4.
20. 37. 52.
36.
It's higher than 5.
39.
6.
Higher than 6.
37. 17.
Higher than 7.
19.
9. 9.5.
10.
11.
8 was right.
15.
8's right.
I said 10.
What are we all about?
Yeah, there's only one of them, let's get it.
There you go. Jump right in there.
What's your favorite?
It is now.
Exactly. 12? That's what he said.
All of us should get a piece. Just hand it around.
There's going to be plenty. I made 15 pounds of jerky. I turned 15 pounds of meat into about 7.5 pounds of jerky. Took me an entire week to make, but I figured it's worth it. Thanks. Okay, so you make your meat, season it, put it in the refrigerator for 40 hours. Now what? Take the bowl out, get the hydrator trays ready. You fill your jerky gun with the meat, and press it out. Now this part's the good smelling part. When you're cooking or dehydrating, it's evaporating all of that liquid, and it fills your house with the aroma of whatever you seasoned it with, and it just smells delicious. Once you have your meat all nicely on the dehydrator, it's time to plug it in. Let the drying start. I've personally found when I'm cooking at my house that for the flat strips, it takes 4 to 6 hours.
426 or 426?
4 to 6. And if you're grinding the round sticks that look like Slim Jims, it takes a little longer because it's thicker. It takes 5 to 7.
It's fat.
That's it? You're inconsistent.
Yeah. Doesn't take long for the ground beef. Here's a picture of my dehydrator on.
On the timer.
Yep, with the timer.
Yep.
It's set for 160 degrees. You can see you can dry other stuff like fruits and vegetables, but let's face it,
use a
meat tastes a lot better.
Yeah, they have to.
use a moisture meter to figure out when it's done, or you just gonna,
What's that?
you use a moisture meter?
No, I'll get to that in just a minute. Like I said, I normally set the timer for 5 to 6 hours, and towards the end I check it. Basically, the way I check it is you squeeze a piece of jerky, and if the meat is still moist, then you keep drying. But you have to make sure to notice the difference between the grease that comes out on top and that you have to wipe off from your fat content and the actual moisture that's still in it. Once you do it once or twice, you're gonna notice that the meat still looks raw when you squeeze it. Yeah. My first batch took 10 out, but that's why you start with a small batch, about a pound, just to see what you're doing. But you want to make sure you get all the moisture out, because the moisture is what's going to cause it to start molding, and then it's garbage or dog treats if you have dogs.
Yes.
My parents' dogs have enjoyed the entire batch. I was not happy. Yes. And you want to make sure you keep it out of reach of your pets, because your dogs will find it.
Especially little ones that like to go up on tables.
Cats.
Yes. Pomeranians especially.
Yes.
Specifically, or?
Even if you walk outside for 30 seconds and you come back inside and the bag is half gone
My
on the
dog
floor.
has ate all of our jerky one weekend by accidentally leaving it out.
Here's an easy one. Capital of Ukraine.
Kiev.
Come on up.
So many pieces.
Ukraine got a yellow capital.
Four.
No, I think it's the rest.
That's crack pepper.
Oh, I get it.
These are like
You. No, I went to the word.
I tried to throw in random. Well, that looks much different on my computer at home.
We'll get over it.
Basically, it says real beef jerky craft.
Yeah.
Now, this is what I consider the real beef jerky. That's where you actually cut up the nice strips of meat into little chunks. In my opinion, it's simpler because I don't like squeezing out the meat. It's much easier for me to just slice the meat up, put it in the marinade, and then
Hand don't cramp up either,
How thick will you make it?
do what?
How thick will you do that?
A quarter inch or less.
Use a slicer.
I want one. I don't have one yet.
Right now, it cuts it up by hand.
Yes, and it's a.
You'll see it in the video.
Meat slicers are neat. They work.
Yes.
Yes.
They're really handy.
That's the bee's knees, yes.
But I also like doing the whole meat because I have more of a freedom of flavoring. Because all you do is create a marinade. You don't have to mix seasonings in. You just create the marinade, let it sit. First, you want to pick out a nice lean cut of meat. I normally use London broils, but I've been experimenting with the Eye of Brown roast recently, and that's actually what if you get the chili, that's what it's made of. Is the Eye of Brown roast. It's got a slab of fat on the outside. You have to get rid of first, but the meat, in my opinion, after dehydrating it, is slightly more tender than the London broil.
Yes.
But you can basically use any type of lean meat that doesn't have a high fat content, obviously, because it's lean. What is the significance of this number?
The emergency code and IT crowd.
Come on up.
IT crowd.
Whoever got it first.
It's over there.
It's a great show.
The birthday boy got it. Happy birthday, Nathan.
Can
Happy
you sing
birthday,
the song?
Nathan.
Happy birthday, Nathan.
Sing the song, Nathan.
It's right up there.
I know, but I don't know how it goes.
It's all about you. What flavors would you like to get to?
8199.
You can have a bonus 4 pieces if you sing the song.
You can have a bonus for pieces if you sing the song. 8 pieces.
011 899 98
Alright, you can get 8 pieces.
Freak!
Megan, are
also
you
have
getting
this
too old
too,
for this
Jerry.
shit?
From today, dialing 999 will not
Not the
get you
one
to
in
emergency
Royal, but we
services.
just talked about.
And that's not the only thing that's changing. Nicer ambulances, faster response times, and better looking drivers.
Yes.
Have you tried turning it off and on again?
So do you want to try both? This is the same thing, it's just an action.
You need to find the YouTube.
So what they do is you share with your friends.
Okay.
Okay.
Just toss in a few random pieces.
Yeah. We'll give you some pepper, so you can give the ones you don't.
Hurry up. Next.
Greg!
Greg!
Happy birthday,
Try to
Nathan.
give away
Happy
the
birthday,
meat.
Nathan. Sweet 16, Nathan.
Here's
I did
a
meat.
picture of Odd slicing some of the meat for the.
Knife safety, gotta curl the fingers.
Oh, I don't care if she cut her fingers off.
No.
That just adds flavor.
My nails are too long anyway. It's all good in the hood.
You just got some nail jerky.
And as someone mentioned earlier, you can save some time by using the meat slicer. I currently don't have one. $50 from Cabela's. You know?
And just to let you all know, that was a pose anyway for the picture.
Mine is 25 years old, but get the $50 Presto number. Electric motor,
Okay.
just like the deli slicer.
Well, I look at those, but I like this because you just stick your entire
I see what you do.
slab of meat in, and in 5 seconds you have all your strips.
That sounds
So you
painful.
can put your eye around it.
I would have to slice it in half to get it to fit into the slot, but yeah.
You're making it worse.
You have to be strong.
Your butcher will do it too.
You have to be strong to do that.
So then you have all of your meat sliced up and your hands are freezing because,
You have to freeze it a little bit.
yeah, I freeze the meat slightly for 60 to 90 minutes. I think I forgot to cover that in the previous
Yeah,
slide, I'm
much
sorry.
easier to cut that way.
But when it's partially frozen, it's easier to slice into thinner slices. Now that it's sliced up, I put it in a gallon Ziploc bag. Normally I get 3 to 4 pounds in a gallon bag. And then you set it aside to make your marinade. What movie is this quote from? Also a bonus piece for naming the character and actor. This is Barry Manilow, Military Rabies War. Breakfast Club is correct.
Alright.
Which actor and or
16 candles, John?
I don't remember.
Wasn't in that.
Joe Nelson?
Apparently it was
Judd Nelson can come get the bonus piece.
No, Joe. I don't remember his character's name.
John Bender.
Let's see, what's the top man?
This is cracked pepper. And this is teriyaki, we have the other.
Yes, I love 80s movies, so the trivia may be biased.
It's very biased.
Wait a minute, that's unfair.
We're the ones controlling the situation.
I disqualified Audrey and Chris from the.
Yes.
So it's all. it's
Especially
completely
me.
fair now.
I might take all the bags.
Here comes the fun part. It's making the marinade. For the most part, I stick to the Alton Brown recipe as my base, and then I change it from there. I know. My mom loves Alton Brown, and that's actually how I found the recipe.
I fucking love Alton Brown. What are you talking about?
He's awesome. I just love the picture.
He's awesome.
Here is the AB jerky marinade base. I normally make a double batch for 2 to 3 pounds because there's recipes for 1 to 2 pounds. And basically, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to make more than 1 or 2 pounds. It's 2/3 of a cup of Worcestershire sauce, 2/3 a cup of soy sauce, a tablespoon of honey, 2 teaspoons freshly ground black pepper, 2 teaspoons of onion powder, 1 teaspoon of liquid smoke, and 1 teaspoon of red pepper flakes.
Yum. That's what that is. It is very good stuff.
And this is completely water.
Drink.
Just mix up the marinade in a mixing bowl and then carefully pour it into your bag with strips of meat. I try to get as much air out and ziplock it up nice and tight.
Chris sucks the air out for him.
Yes, Chris is good at sucking. And now that it's sealed together, you just squish the meat in the bag around and try to get it. You're not helping on it. And make sure it all gets nice and coated. Now you want to put it in the fridge and in a way that it'll stand up in my blurry picture, because Chris obviously couldn't get a good picture of that. He was my photographer.
The
And
ones
it's
that are clear
blurry.
are mine.
Yes.
I wasn't there for that photo, just to let you know.
Yeah, you were. You took the picture.
And I let it sit for 3 to 4 days, for 3 to 4 days absorbing the flavor.
You were there for that
And
picture.
once a day, I pull it out and mix it all around again.
Well, you gave me a big select. You better retake the picture for us. You picked the wrong one. We took 6.
Different genres are pretty good.
It's been
Now it's time to get down to business. Get the bag out, dump up to a strainer in your sink, and shake out as much of the liquid as you can. The more liquid you get out, the
Exit stage right.
more liquid you can get out, the less it will have to evaporate in the dehydrator.
Oh, I just looked at it. Oh, no, on that, okay.
Take it out piece by piece, lay it down on the dehydrator, and I try to avoid touching the pieces because you want some airflow between them. And if they're touching, when they dry, they'll actually stick together. And you don't like sticky meat.
Well, it's more to the person, I guess.
I don't like sticky meat.
Kleenex. It happens.
You want to turn the dehydrator on, set the timer, and wait. For the whole muscle jerky, I found my sweet spot to be around 8 to 10 hours. You also want to do the moisture test to verify it's dry and ready. The time it takes will depend on how thinly you're able to slice it. Thicker slicers will take longer to dry out. Another trivia here. What TV show is this quote from?
IT crowd.
All right. Bonus.
Turn it off on again. IT crowd.
Oh, what's his name? The Irish guy.
Cake boss.
Roy or
big
Moss?
boss. I like food.
His name Irish.
It's Roy and Moss.
Yes, you're right.
Roy.
You get the question, you get the bonus. Do you know the actor? Okay.
Chris says no.
You get that piece.
I like it.
Yeah, he can have it.
Okay, you get to have that.
Oh,
He gets 2
Chris,
pieces.
that's right.
It is too busy.
But you owe me.
Chili?
Did you want more?
Should I take one?
Should you take more? Yes, you
While they're
should.
picking up their pieces,
These
I had a
are.
question about Audsome Brown. I know
Yes.
he had a show where he like strapped it to air filters and stuck it in his AC
Yes,
output.
that is where this recipe's from.
That's what I thought. But what do you think of that method of the no heat, but very, very low cool humidity?
I haven't tried it. I don't know if I want to try it. I have a dehydrator, so. But if you have the money to possibly waste, go ahead and try it. Yeah. I mean, the problem with that is you have to buy new filters every time. A dehydrator costs $60. So
It's very
if
expensive.
you're going to make more than a couple batches, it's cheaper in the long run than just getting a dehydrator.
Very expensive.
But he says it works, and I trust his opinion, so
He liked the no heat method.
yeah.
You can always test it out and see which one you like better.
I'm going to share some of my recipes here. They have been a top secret up until now, unless you follow my Facebook page. But all my recipes are for 2 to 3 times. Here is the chili jerky. Everyone except for Chris and apparently Will Pig likes my chili jerky.
I think it's the best.
Since this is a double batch, it's basically the Alton Brown recipe all the way down to adding the 2 teaspoons of paprika, the 2 teaspoons of ground cumin, however that's
Cumin.
pronounced.
Cumin.
I don't claim to be any kind of English professor.
I cook cumin.
Public school for the win. I don't think it has a G.
Yes, I had Georgia Public School.
Michigan.
And,
And
and 3 teaspoons of chili powder. I actually used the hot Mexican chili powder.
It's delicious.
Give it a slightly more spicy flavor.
The presenter needs a Penzies catalog for Christmas.
This was actually a mistake. I was trying to make a bacon flavor, so I bought molasses bacon flavoring that ended up tasting like a sweet barbecue.
They're still good though.
So it uses Worcestershire sauce and a cup of water mixed with half of the container of molasses bacon grill mix, and then let it sit for 3 to 4 days. Teriyaki is basically the same as Alton Brown's base, except I swap out the soy sauce for teriyaki sauce, which gives it the teriyaki flavor. And I did that because they both are high in content for salt, which was what the soy sauce was used for, which helps cure the meat. Hickory, I swap out the soy sauce for Moore's marinade. Everything else is the same as the Alton Brown base. And the trivia. What movie is this quote from? Bonus piece, if you know the actor and character. Come on, baby, come to Papa. I'll kiss your fucking Dalmatian.
101 Dalmatians.
They totally say fucking Dalmatian in a Disney
My
movie.
children are so not watching that anymore. Just saying. Right, my children are so not watching that,
And
so.
it's in 80s movies. Who said Die Hard? Do you know the actor and or character? There you go, come on up. 6 pieces.
Okay, I heard that.
For anyone who doesn't know, it's the scene when he's on top of the building, Nakatomi Plaza, and the fire trucks are coming, and then they turn around. Yes, it is.
Damn it, spoilers.
Oh, I'm sorry. Spoiler alert.
I thought Dalmatian was a euphemism.
If that's a spoiler.
And now it's time to enjoy your fruits of your labor. The hard part's trying not to eat it all at once.
Eat it all
If you
at
do,
once.
it is going to wear your jaw out, and it may give you TMJ.
And I like that.
I don't have TMJ, but I have worn my jaw out to the point where I could not chew anymore.
We're not gonna ask for what. Yeah. All that meat, shaking, bacon. No.
That's some miscellaneous tips. With cutting your meat, cutting with the grain will make a tougher jerky for the whole meat. Cutting against the grain will make it slightly tenderer. If you store it in just a plain Ziploc bag, it'll keep for a few weeks outside of the fridge. For longer term storage, you want to put it in the refrigerator or freeze it or vacuum seal it.
Yeah, I like your last sentence there.
Yeah, I haven't vacuum sealed it yet because
Chris does it for him.
No.
He has.
Chris inhales my meat.
He does. He's a great vacuum sealer. He takes it all in.
All that meat.
Here's some links. For recipes of my other jerky makings, this is a shorter look at the Facebook page.
He also has a very good taco one that was an accident, but it tastes just like taco. I'm just saying. It's
Yeah.
delicious.
I was trying to make a Mexican flavoring and it tastes like taco meat.
Straight up taco, but it's good. It's really good.
Any questions or comments?
Have you tried doing it in the oven instead of using a hand trigger?
Like with a convection oven?
That would make it hard.
I thought I had a slide on that, I guess not. But that is an alternate way to do it. The problem is you need to put your your stove on 160, 170 degrees and leave it cracked for 6 hours. So it may be fine in the winter when you're trying to heat your house, but during the summer it's not very economical to keep your oven open and your AC
If
running.
you live in Georgia, not so much.
Oh, yeah.
Not doing that stuff.
Not happening in Georgia.
No.
So yeah, I was gonna ask, have you ever tried the little silicone things to go along with the zip bag? Because I actually repurpose them when I get stuff in shipping, and you can actually throw them in like a little toaster oven. And
From what I've heard, they're not, the ones that you get in normal shipping are not food friendly.
No.
You have to buy the special,
food ones. Okay.
yes.
You don't want
And
melting.
then also for the slicing, is it okay to do it free? Like tell the butcher to cut it up for you?
Yeah,
You
if you
don't have to
find,
do the work.
I don't have a butcher near me. I live in the middle of nowhere,
Right.
and
If you go to Walmart or anything and you ask them, or Sam's Club or wherever you go, and you ask them to do it exactly how you want, it's absolutely, I
Yeah.
would recommend
Okay.
that, yes.
Thank you. Oh, can you go back one slide?
one
Did you
side.
freeze it?
Yes,
To
you
the
can
lips.
freeze your meat.
For how long?
It stays as good as long as you freeze it, you unthaw it.
So
As long as you just let it-
Iyeman.net/jerky.
Let it sit out though for a little while, because like when you're doing your jerky, it still needs to dry, because you don't want molding. But it will keep it longer for you if you do freeze it. I would say freezer Ziploc it, and you can keep it in a cupboard longer, but you know, you can freeze. But it just won't stay as good as long if you do freeze, because it does get moist. But you can freeze.
It hardly ever lasts long
Yes.
enough to
No,
consider.
you'll eat it all,
Normally,
I'm
when I
telling
make a batch
you.
of jerky, it's gone within a week.
We gobble that stuff, so.
Between my friends,
Yeah.
coworkers, myself,
friends.
family.
He made me 2 pounds and it lasted, and it was supposed to be for this trip. It lasted maybe
It was a
4 days.
fat
And
bag
I was
like
really
this,
thirsty.
and it's almost gone already, and this was just starting yesterday, so, yeah, but he's a fatty, he eats
Like I
lots
said,
of
he
stuff,
inhales
so.
my meat.
It happens, he inhales
I
it,
love this meat.
he loves it.
Pregunta, or question for those of us who speak English.
I speak English.
Indeed. One thing we neglected to mention was the cost. I mean, you're cutting up primo pieces of meat,
Yes.
which are $8 or $10 a pound.
No, $5.
Well, Walmart.
No, Sam's Club is very pricey.
Sam's Club, easy.
Costco, you can actually get it for a better deal
The-
than Walmart.
The ground beef I use is usually $5 a pound, unless I can get it on sale for $4. And the London broils I normally try to get them on sale for $4 a pound. Normally at my bio, they're $5.50 a pound.
It's actually very reasonable, it's really the products that make it.
And
What about input versus output? So obviously we've all bought jerky, and it's $7 for half-ounce jerky. I don't know if I'm getting a good deal or not, right?
Nowhere
You,
near.
you get about 50% yield. So if you buy 2 pounds of meat, you're gonna get about a
It's
pound
only
of
half.
jerky. Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
that's
But
very.
that's the dehydration.
And
Yes.
early in your slide, you said you need a meat gun, dehydrator. The other thing you need is a lot of time.
Yes.
So next time you give this up, and then you need some time, because you need at least a couple days to prep.
But it's like anything, the money that you save is a time money trade-off.
If you're home at
And
night,
the stuff
marinate.
that you
Oh, we're
buy.
not doing anything anyways, right?
No, but technically, if you do our home, like before work, and some of this takes 6 to 8 hours to dehydrate anyways, you could actually throw it on while you're at work. When you come home, by the time it's already done.
Right,
And the
yeah.
marinating, you do it at night,
Right.
and it takes a few days,
I put it
so
on before I go to bed and it's ready when I wake up, or
It's
before
really
I
not
go to
that
work.
hard.
Your house smells awesome.
delicious.
And it tastes much better than that plastic crap you get in a bag at the grocery store.
Yes, compared to what you're doing, it's,
Yes.
yes,
Right on. Thanks, sir.
I think it's cost saving. He doesn't want it. Yeah.
I was gonna say, a good way to cut back on the price of the meats is if you know family or do yourself, is just kill your own meat.
Yes.
I highly recommend deer jerky if
Yes.
if
Deer
you're hunting,
jerky
that
is
is the
delicious.
best.
My
It has
mom
come
makes
out the
And
best.
it's very lean to begin with, and that's,
If you have access to
We're
killing your own
healthy
deers or
house,
someone who
so.
kills deers, you're good to go. Or elk, or any wild game really.
Just drive fast on a dark road.
Or on a motorcycle, for what I've heard.
Winner, deer
And then let
dinner.
your insurance pay for your car.
Or your motorcycle, for what I've heard.
Avoid armadillo, it's too high in fat.
Yes, just a little bit. A little crunchy, might be a little hard to do. Yes. We have a video.
Here's a short video, about 3 minutes from that Chris made.
you ever put sesame seeds in there?
No, but
Not
you
yet.
can.
Do it after fry or before?
I would put it in with your marinade because then it will stick better.
Very nice.
That's what I would do. But I would put more because it's liquid.
Right.
So, or if you want, you can actually dip it with your finger and put extra on. Moist finger. I just want to say, my house smelled glorious for 9 full days. It was a
Every time you
beautiful
open the
thing.
bag, it's
Better than any Glade plug-in you've ever had.
So we gotta go to that website.
My dog did go crazy. She was barking at us the whole time.
Yeah, that's the whole
She
video.
wanted
I got lazy and went back to playing
Very
games,
nice.
sorry.
That's the same website that my show earlier.
We had it for a short period of time.
Guys, you guys rock. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Sorry about that.
Apparently I made a lot of jerky, so
So if you would like to try, please feel free to come up. I will.
yes,
I
I'll be in
will
the
give
lobby.
it so nobody has to get AIDS.
Yes, I decided to have Aud give it out so that we didn't.
No AIDS are distributed in this room.
The con flu, if someone had it, it's not gonna be distributed to all my jerky.
I call it AIDS. Feel free. It's a grown-up situation. It happens. Let's get finger condoms next time. Yeah.